Factor number one, numero uno, tryptophan. I'm going to go ahead and put it up here so you can go ahead and Google it and follow along with me. Because what you're going to find is that tryptophan is the only amino acid that your dog's body uses to make serotonin. And that's the calm chemical, the everything is okay chemical. A study published by NIH, that's the National Institute of Health, the most trusted research body in this country, found that dogs being fed a diet high in tryptophan showed significantly lower territorial aggression. Corn, gluten, soy, they're nearly tryptophan free. Yes, you heard me correctly. But turkey, eggs, sardines, that's through the roof. So that dog you have at home that just doesn't want to settle down and that reacts to everything, they may just be eating the wrong protein. No one in the vet's office told you that. Now, I'm going to talk specifically about my American pocket bullies. These dogs are high muscle, compact power. Their brains consume more serotonin precursors per pound of body weight than most breeds. That's because of the muscle mass. They have a higher metabolic rate. All in all, they need more tryptophan. So here's another tidbit. Most commercial large breed dog foods were made for golden retrievers. So think about it for a minute. You're out here buying bags for large breed. You're feeding your pocket American bully who has higher demands for this particular amino acid, and you're feeding the wrong fuel. That's like putting diesel inside of your car's gas tank. By the way, don't do that. It's just not going to work out. That's a mismatch, and your dog is showing you through his or her behavior. Factor number two, and this I got taught directly by a trainer, because every single bag of commercial dog food does this. Starch. Most kibbles are 40 to 60% starch. It's just a fact. When your dog eats it, the blood sugar spikes hard and fast. Then it crashes. Ever seen what happens to a child when they get fed too much sugar? It's basically the same effect. Now, let me simplify it for you. That spike creates hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inability to focus. You're out here running recall training, and your dog simply won't lock in. It won't hold the command. You're over here thinking your dog's being hard-headed. In reality, your dog is on a glucose roller coaster, and nobody built a training protocol for a roller coaster. What if I told you that half the dogs labeled untrainable, talking about the ones that failed obedience class, the ones that owners gave up on, were just chemically unable to sustain attention because of what they ate that morning? No broken dogs, just sugar spiked dogs. Factor number three, and you need to stick around for this one, because this piece of science was just dropped on July of 2025. Most people in the dog world haven't even heard of it yet. Now let me get closer for this one. They found that scientists can actually predict whether a dog is anxious or aggressive just by analyzing their gut bacteria. Let that sink in. Not training history, not the breed, not the age, just the gut bacteria. Because the gut is literally sending behavioral instructions to the brain. Here's a wow moment for you. Did you know that your dog's gut produces more serotonin than the dog's brain actually does? It's not even close. 90% of the dog's serotonin lives in the gut, not the brain. So every time you pour starch and filler into that bowl, you're not just feeding the belly, you're programming the mood. The behavioral problem starts at the bowl and not on the leash. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a commercial, but I have to be real with y'all. This is the exact reason NuVet Plus NuJoint DS are part of my program. When your gut bacteria drives the behavior, you're running a probiotic-rich, antioxidant-dense supplement alongside a raw diet, a cooked diet, or even a mix thereof. You're maintaining the gut-brain phone line. You're getting a clean signal, therefore, you get a calm dog. And that's not a pitch, that's biology. Look it up. You got the link up here, and I'm also going to go ahead and leave it down below in descriptions. Just know there's a reason for the madness and why it is that you need both the green and the blue bottle. Factor number 4, omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA. Let me simplify it for you. DHA is the building block of brain cell membranes. Without enough DHA, your dog's brain cells cannot communicate properly. Signals begin to misfire. That's where you get exaggerated reactions. You get a dog that goes from 0 to 100. You're wondering why. A lot of times it's omega-3 deficiency. You've heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it for the new people again. Most kibble companies process food at such high heat that any natural omega-3 ingredient gets destroyed or denatured before it even hits the bag. So even if the bag says salmon flavor, by the time the kibble hits the bowl, the DHA is already gone. You paid for salmon chemistry, but you got instead salmon coloring. Research shows that dogs that have been supplemented with omega-3s demonstrate measurably lower anxiety responses, less reactivity to strangers, and better impulse control in training. The fix is direct. Sardines in water, wild-caught salmon, mackerel. Start there before you buy a single training session. Factor number 5, BHA, BHT, and artificial dyes. I know some of you are going to say, but Raul, the FDA has approved these. Technically, they are FDA approved, but all FDA approval means it's not going to kill your dog immediately. Doesn't mean that they're neutral. Now, the behavioral research, on the other hand, that tells a completely different story. BHA and BHT are petroleum. Let me say it again. Petroleum-derived preservatives. That's the same base ingredient used in gasoline you put in your car. And they are in most commercial dog treats and many dog foods. Your dog is eating a preservative system designed for oil industry stability. And you're over here wondering why your dog can't calm down? Now listen up, because this goes for your kids and grandkids too. Studies on children exposed to artificial dyes showed measurably increased hyperactivity following the same neurological pathway that dogs share. The gut absorbs these compounds. The gut then talks to the brain. Brain misfires. You watch the misfire happen inside of your kennel, inside of your home, out in the street. And you may be blaming it on the dog. So let me get personal right here for a second. My boy, Champion, Blueberry. He's always been shy, borderline timid. We put Blueberry in one of the best handler and trainer's hands out there in order to get Blueberry in the ring. Once he finishes training, we put him in the ring. And he always just didn't seem comfortable. He understood the training. He understood what was asked of him. At times, he just wouldn't settle. Sometimes even sound could break his concentration. I knew the bloodlines. I knew the environment. I knew the handler trainer. And none of it explained it. And that's when I dove deep. Because Blueberry is extreme. And what I mean by extreme is he's got a lot more muscle than the average American bully or pocket American bully does, for that matter. He has a higher metabolic rate, which I mentioned earlier. So yes, we were already feeding raw to Blueberry and feeding sardines. But after getting this information on hand, I decided to experiment. The next time he came back from a dog show, I increased his sardines and turkey, which I know are high in tryptophan and high in omega-3s. Of course, we kept giving him Nuvet NuJoint DS, and bam, and bam, and bam. Boy goes into a show and comes out a champion. Previous results weren't the best because he just wasn't settled in. He was following instructions, but his concentration just might not have been as good as it could have been. I made these changes within 21 days. I had a dog that you could place in any environment and he can regulate himself and be totally focused. Same dog, same genes, same kennel, same training, different food. If that's not proof that food can rewire behavior, then I don't know what proof is. And here's what pocket bullies specifically need to hear. Pocket build carries more muscle density per square inch than any of the other classes. We all know that. Metabolic demand is higher. The amino acid demand is higher. You cannot feed a pocket American bully the same diet that you're going to feed a Labrador Retriever and expect the same behavioral stability. Different engine, different fuel grade. What do you do with all this? Let me simplify it for you. Look at the first 3 ingredients in your dog food right now. If you see corn, wheat, soy, or any derivative in the top 3, you have a tryptophan problem and a blood sugar problem all wrapped up in that beautiful bag. That food, it needs to go. 2, you need to add real omega-3 source. Like I told you before, sardines and water, not in oil. Wild-caught salmon and mackerel can be given. I just wouldn't recommend to be giving daily due to mercury accumulation. That's why I prefer sardines. These are the raw materials for brain cell insulation. You don't need to go full raw overnight. This addition alone can actually shift behavior within 2 to 3 weeks. A can of sardine like this costs you about $1.20. A behavioral consultation with a dog trainer for about an hour is going to run you about $150. Not saying don't train your dog. What I am saying, fix the chemistry first, because you cannot train a chemically imbalanced brain into stability. The biology, that needs to come before the behavior. 3, support the gut-brain axis. This is because diet sometimes is not enough, especially if your dog has been on commercial dog food for years. Microbiome damage does not reverse overnight. I'm just keeping it real with you. A quality, probiotic, antioxidant dense supplement becomes the bridge for where the gut is today and where it needs to be. For that gut bridge, I have ran NuVet alongside NuJoint DS. I'm leaving the link up here and it's going to be down below in the description. Not to mention that you get 13% off with AutoShip. If you order both and you do AutoShip, you're also going to get a free one-on-one consult with me. We're going to sit down and talk about it FaceTime. More than the discount, if you're trying to fix behavior from the inside out, this right here is the piece that most owners are missing. So let me bring it home. 5 factors. Changing your dog's behavior straight from the bowl. Tryptophan deficiency, blood sugar spike, gut-brain axis disruption, omega-3 deficiency, artificial preservatives. One chain, all coming from the same bowl. But here's the best part. Every single one of them are reversible. The dog you think you have, that aggressive dog, that anxious dog, a dog that simply won't focus, that might not be your dog's personality. It might just be the food talking. And what goes in, you can control that. That same food that you're suspecting that you've been feeding your dog that has caused these behavioral issues may also be causing skin, fur, and yeast issues in your dog. If you want to get rid of that, make sure to click on this next playlist. May Raul from the Q be catching you on the next one.